surprised that defenses still allow him to get open somehow, whether it be Florida State game, whether it be Alabama. Seems like somehow it's like they forget about him in key moments.
Yeah, I think it's it's difficult. I think when you have a lot of talented players, you got Mike Williams on one side and Artavis Scott on the other side, and Jordan Leggett lined up in the slot. Yes, we know Hunter is very talented, but you've only got two eyes, and you got a lot of weapons out there, and I think that's been part of the reason for our success is having multiple weapons where guys can't really get focused on one or two guys. But going into the national championship game against Alabama, there were a lot of comments by their players of, hey, last year we didn't really know who he was, and he's not going to sneak up on us this time. And that's one of the messages that I kind of had to Hunter and our wideouts, and maybe even to the offense is, what's going to happen when it happens again? Even after they've been saying this, then really panic really starts setting in, and they really start arguing or getting frustrated on the other side. And so sure enough, it kind of happened that way. And so, but I think if you look at great players, no matter what position, they continue to have success, even though people know, Big Beasley's a tough guy to block off the edge. He still has that success because he's a talented player, and it comes down to fundamentals and technique to go along with your skill set that you have, and that's kind of who Hunter is. These guys are obviously working hard to stop him, but he's working hard to continue to find ways to get open, and that's what great players do.
You said you don't worry at all about Hunter's mentality as far as handling success. Any similar concerns for Deion now that he's positioned to really maybe have such a breakthrough season? Do you have any concerns about how he might handle being in the spotlight and have a tremendous amount of success?
I think it's natural, really, for a lot of your guys to kind of be concerned. But I think the thing that helps us at Clemson is the culture that Coach Sweeney has done such a great job of developing. Every day these guys are really getting challenged by Coach Sweeney to always get better. It's always about what's next. It's kind of that, he always talks about that windshield mentality. That rear view mirror, what you've accomplished in the past, that's just a very small piece of your vision. You better be looking about what's ahead. And so that mindset is really taking over our team. And I think that's one reason that we've had the 6 years of 10+ wins, and that high level of consistency is the way that Coach Sweeney and our staff have really trained these guys to think and to not take a lot of time and look in that rearview mirror. If you're driving down the road staring in the rearview mirror, you're going to run off the road and wreck. And our guys have really bought into that, and so I think from a big program perspective, that's kind of the norm, is really not to get caught up in that. And so from that standpoint, it's something that you're always watching and really challenging guys. But from what I've seen from both Deion and Ray, that those guys feel like they have a lot to prove, and they do. Neither of those guys have been day one starters going out and having the shoulder of the passing game on them. And so there's a new challenge for them. And even though they both had success at moments, they both feel like they have not gotten close to reaching their potential as a player. And so I've seen both of them have been very hungry in the spring and in the summer, and I just have a feeling the way that Coach Sweeney talks to our team, he'll have our guys, feeling like we have a lot to prove because we do.
Is it fair to say Deion is more of a kind of a mixture of Sammy and Mike Williams?
Yeah,
Does he do both?
I get a lot of those questions, obviously, trying to compare guys, and my big message to my guys, and really to anybody who's asked about them, is these guys are all different. Maybe they do have parts that remind me. There are parts of what Deion does that reminds me of Sammy, as far as being able to get open downfield and have the big play capability. But also Deion, he's got some DeAndre Hopkins in him. He's a tough, physical kid. Whenever he gets across, in between those white lines, there's a competitive fire that reminds me a lot of Nuke whenever he was here. But the biggest thing, is again going back to kind of how we talk to our guys and how we get them to think, is we don't want them to compare themselves to anybody. We want them to be worried about being the very best version of themselves. And so that's really what we talk about. But he definitely has some of the traits of several of the top talented guys that we've had in the past.
You've had several wide receivers come and making an immediate impact as freshmen. How much does that experience help you in bringing guys like Amari, especially T. Higgins, along, getting them acclimated?
Yeah, well, I think it's always a fun part of the year, really, because you never know as a coach until you get out there. I can remember, several guys that maybe you think coming out there day one that they're going to be further ahead. You go, okay, it's going to take a little longer, but we're going to get there. And there's been other guys, like I mentioned in the past about Sammy Watkins, that you went out the first day and you're like, wow, he's ready after one day. It's not going to take much, and he's going to be ready to go. So you really never know until you get out there. All you can do is base it off of past experiences and watch them in high school, how they work and practice and talk to their coaches. But I think that's part of the fun part is you really never know till you get out there. But what I do know about both of them is they're focused young men. It's important to them. They've got a very talented skill set that they're bringing. But how quickly they can learn the offense, learn their position, learn the nuances, learn the signals, all that stuff, it's very hard to predict. And that's one reason that we have 28 practices in August, is to get all that stuff figured out.
What are some of the nuances?
You talk about how staying focused, staying hungry. How difficult has that been this offseason? Because this is an offseason like few others in your lives. Is there a balance between enjoying what you've accomplished and not resting on it?
And I think Coach Sweeney does a great job of really helping our guys think through that process. That hey, when we won the national championship, I mean, he wanted our guys to enjoy that moment. You hear some coaches, hey, we're going to be back lifting tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. The season starts tomorrow, and that's a lot of football talk and all that. Coach Sweeney said, hey, boys, enjoy this. We worked extremely hard, and we went to the White House. Let's really enjoy this. And then there's a time and place for, okay, we've had our parade, we've had our time, and really, whenever it was time getting ready for spring practice, that was kind of the time it's ready to kind of tie the bow on that 2016 season, put that on the shelf. That's something we're going to be able to look back and enjoy for a long time. But we've got something big in front of us, and it's always about what's next. It's always about that next season. There's a lot of question marks. You got a lot of guys leaving. So, we got a lot of guys that feel like they have a lot to prove because they've been on the sidelines watching all of these other veteran guys that we lost. And so, to be honest, I think it's a little bit harder a year ago when you have so many talented guys coming back that have had a lot of success. I think that's a harder job as a coach to get those guys ready because they've kind of been through the fire and they know, and it's easy for those guys. I spent a lot more time last spring, last summer watching those dynamics, being sure that our guys, weren't getting complacent, feel like we've arrived and those type of things. This group knows they've heard all the rhetoric that all those guys have left. Coach Sweeney told the team the other day that he went up to ACC Media Day, he didn't get one question other than about the quarterbacks. He didn't get one question about Deion Kane or Mitch Hyatt or Mylan Richard or C.J. Fuller or any of these guys, Ray McLeod. And so those guys know, that they got big shoes to fill and they're excited about it. So to be honest, I think it's a little easier this year, because you have so many hungry guys getting ready to fill new roles.
Jeff, what's the crazy